Last year, we visited landscape designer Andrew Grossman's beautiful garden and we did a tour. Well, we're back and he has a new project to share with us. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, Steph. It's so nice to see you.
So nice to see you again.
Well, I called you because I wanted to show you a new project that I started working on last fall, and that is pretty much finished, at least with the major portions of it now. Ooh. I don't know if you remember, but when you were here before, this bed had a very narrow lawn walkway, and then there was a sort of a rustic stone wall behind it.
I do remember.
Well, last fall we pushed it all back to open up the lawn area, and we moved the wall back to sort of hold in the pitch that falls behind it, and we installed a little surprise.
A surprise? Oh, I can't wait to see it. Oh my goodness, this is so unexpected. How beautiful.
This is what's called a pondless stream.
Gorgeous.
It's man-made, obviously, and it basically just goes downhill to a reservoir at the bottom where the water is recycled, then back up to go down again. So there's no actual pond that you need to take care of. This isn't something that you would get if you wanted to have aquatic plants or something like that. It's really for the movement and the sound. And there was originally sort of a gully here, which gave me the idea for putting in this water feature.
So beautiful, Andrew.
So one of the things I want you to notice about the plantings is that I've really relied a lot on repetition to keep your eye moving through the space. So there'll be a group of roses at the top, and then on the other side further down, and then there's another group way down. So as you move through the space, the repetition of whether it's the spikes of yucca or the perovskia, your eye keeps moving through the space so that the feeling of a lot of motion happens.
Oh, this is gorgeous. You see that, you really do see the rhythm and repetition going down the sides of the stream, and it's really soothing to the eye. Beautiful.
So even though there's a lot of variety planted here, and I've sort of been self-indulgent, I haven't been as strict with myself as I normally am. I have planted perhaps a little more variety than I normally would, but I also am still sticking to my rule of planting things in big groups and relying on repetition.
Yeah, and I took that away from our last tour where you said that it takes a lot of restraint to have a garden that looks cohesive, and having that rhythm and repetition really helps with that.
It really does, and it makes it more restful for the viewer.
Yeah, I agree. Just beautiful. So Andrew, these stepping stones or these rocks that you were placed here so that you could walk across your stream, that is so brilliant and clever. What a nice path you provided, and as a focal point, your bench at the end to invite people to sit.
Yeah, my goal in work, whenever I do something on the property, is sort of to create a space that draws people out, that makes you want to move.
Yes.
That makes you want to go and sit on a bench or walk across some stepping stones. And even though you can get to the other side very easily other ways, so if you don't want to walk across the stepping stones, you don't have to. They're so solid, and it's such an easy walk that I think a lot of people really enjoy it.
It's beautiful. And this ground cover that you've utilized here between the stepping stones, burgundy glow ajuga?
It's a juga,
yeah.
and this has done amazingly here. I mean, when I think that this was probably like 40 plants, 40 little tiny plants about, you know, in April, and now
Beautiful.
It's so solid. So what I'll probably end up doing at some point is taking out maybe some of the other ground cover like this dianthus that isn't doing as well, and I'll just spread the ajuga forward. So over time, I actually expect to have a little bit less variety here as the things that are really happy kind of take over and the things that are struggling
get removed.
Replaced.
Yeah, it's kind of like editing the garden.
Yeah, it's a constant process. And I think of my gardens in general as more like a painting. I'm always trying to sort of create a beautiful image, and the plants are just, you know, the paint, the color,
That's
the
right.
textures.
I love
so I'm actually more interested in a sort of beautiful picture than that necessarily individual specimens are the most healthy, best specimens.
Yeah, I understand that. And I find that you use a lot of soft colors and these repeated patterns. Is that something you do on purpose?
Well, I did, you know, originally the color scheme for this was going to be just yellow and blue. And then I felt that it was too harsh. And so I introduced pink and a little bit of white. And I think that that is sort of a nicer balance. I mean, this will never look like a natural planting because of the plants that I've chosen. But I do want to create a planting that sort of complements the water and doesn't fight with it. So there are no oranges or reds in this garden. It's really just the paler colors.
Would you walk us through and sort of show us some of the plants that you've selected?
Yeah, so let's walk around the back of it. If you'll notice, I actually keep a mowed path behind this, which gives me access, but also keeps the field at bay. Because one of the issues with doing this was that it was basically a field prior, and so there's a lot of very tenacious weeds that are still in here. So this gives me a buffer, but I have spent a lot of time weeding this.
I bet.
But once I sort of get it under control, it shouldn't be a problem.
You have some Rugosa rose here?
Yes, that is a white double Rugosa rose. I think it's Blanc Double du Coubert.
Oh, lovely.
And it's really nice. It blooms all summer, though heaviest in the spring, and has a nice fragrance, which is why I put it near the bench so that people can smell it as they're relaxing.
Yeah, so it's a sensory experience as well. And the Rugosa rose, they get large rose hips too, so they give a little interest in the fall.
Right, and I planted near that. This is that Ilex verticillata, the winterberry.
Oh, very nice.
And so this is a big group of that. So in the winter, I will get those red berries, which are beautiful and really great for cutting and bringing inside. You
have a drift of ivory halo dogwood.
This is that sort of dwarfer variegated ivory halo dogwood.
Nice.
It is just, I think, a great accent plant because it has beautiful foliage all the time. And it's very soft looking, and I also repeated it further down along the stream. So once again, whenever I have repetition, the eye moves down.
It sure does.
So it gives the feeling of motion in the space.
So in the spring, you'll have the light pink blooms with the rhododendron and with the deutzia that you have planted. And then as we head into June and the later part of spring and summer, you'll have the roses.
And the roses.
These are a drift rose?
No, these are actually flower carpets.
Oh, okay.
I used to plant this a lot for people. It's flower carpet apple blossom.
Oh, very pretty.
I had stopped planting them when I started planting drifts a lot, but these sort of have longer, more arching canes, and so it gives a softer, sort of airier look than the drift roses do. And so I thought that that would be a better choice in this space.
And I just noticed that you also have a sugar tip rose of Sharon here. And I've actually, now that I am aware of your rhythm and repetition, my eye automatically went across the stream to your other rose of Sharon there and one at the end. And it also has that beautiful variegated foliage and light pink bloom that you've repeated throughout the bed.
Yeah, I actually, these were an impulse buy. I saw them at Home Depot a couple weeks ago, and I've always liked them. And I thought it would be nice because it's a more columnar form of the Rose of Sharon, so they're not going to get really wide, but they are going to give me some height. The foliage is interesting, and the flower is almost exactly the same color as the rose. Yeah. So that worked well. It sort of takes that color and then shoots it skyward. I love that. A little bit.
And then, of course, you have this drift of these butterfly bushes that look like they grow pretty wide.
This is a very interesting, more cascading variety that has really taken off. So
very pretty.
I'm quite happy with it, although I don't have great luck sometimes with the newer varieties of butterfly bush wintering over. So
yeah,
I'm hoping it's not just an annual.
Right. If we have an exceptionally wet winter, sometimes there's
or cold.
They don't like it wet and cold. They could sometimes not return. But very beautiful. And I always love the fragrance of these. They smell to me a little bit like lilac, which I really like.
Yeah, and they just bloom. I mean, they are covered in flowers.
They really are.
One thing that I'm really lucky about is the soil on this property is really amazing. It's about 2 inches of rich loam and then golden sand. So even though it was hard getting all the weed root systems out, once that was done, things just grow like crazy in here.
So it's very nutrient dense and very well draining.
And very
with the
well
sand,
draining.
which is excellent. What are your light conditions in this area?
Well, it starts to get a little bit more shady as we go down here to the end because of the large trees behind us, though unfortunately those large trees are all beech trees, which are now dying from that blight, which is sort of heartbreaking.
It really is.
Nonetheless, this area is shadier, so this is a rhododendron variety, a PJM rhododendron variety.
You have some ferns?
I have ferns. That is an anthurium called Ghost, and that's a really hardy, tough variety with very pretty foliage. And then again, I repeated the ivory halos. And this does get sun in the afternoon, so it's not a deep shade. We get later into the day, we get a lot more sun, so I still can plant the Rose of Sharons and things like that. Now this...
gorgeous!
Yeah, aren't these great? This is Abelia grandiflora. I think it's a bush that should be used a lot more. It starts blooming right around this time of year with these beautiful white flowers. It's pretty indestructible. It's very happy in sun to part shade. There are also a lot of new varieties of Abelia on the market right now. There's variegated varieties. There's ones with pink flowers. This, though, the grandiflora, is the only one that I find reliably hardy here.
And it has these really pretty red stems.
Yeah, it has pretty red stems, and it's semi-evergreen, meaning that in a mild winter it will hold its leaves, and in a bad winter it will drop them.
Very pretty. I love this. These bell-shaped flowers, very reminiscent of the penstemon flowers.
Yeah, you're right.
Very pretty. And you have a drift of the Hakanakloa, which brings a bit of gold, again, with that repetition that you have with the yucca and the ilex.
Yes. Yes, this is a great Hakanakloa, and I actually just divided up some that I had in another part of the garden. I'll probably spread it out a little bit more in the fall when I, fine tune and move some of the plantings around.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really nice plant. I mean, a lot of things took a bit of a beating that week that it was 100 degrees. You just can't water enough.
You really can't.
When it's that hot. And these were new plantings, so they were very susceptible to heat. But they'll bounce back. My attitude about the first year of any planting is, as long as things just stay alive, that's the battle I'm trying to win.
Yes, and you gave us some information. Well, before, when I was asking you about the rhythm and the repetition, you said something about how you wanted sort of instant impact. So you have how many of these hydrangeas planted in this cluster here?
Right, so this is a dwarfer hydrangea called Tiny Tough Stuff. And I have, I think, 7 or 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 7. Now, I probably could have planted just 4 here. And in about 5 years, they would have filled in. But I'm impatient and I decided to plant more. They won't interfere with each other. They will not get, each individual plant will stay smaller, but I get a fuller look much quicker. And that's generally my attitude about most plantings, is how do I get a full look as quickly as possible without wasting money or without having something that's really going to interfere with another planting. So where I really have to pay attention is where these hydrangeas, for instance, touch the astilbes.
Those are
And you
beautiful.
can see over here, this one is a little too close now. So I gambled a little wrong, and in the fall I'll pick this one up and move it a little further away so that it isn't interfering with this bunch of astilbes.
Luckily for you, they're still probably not too deeply rooted, so it should be a fairly easy
Yeah, I
move.
mean, it'll be easy. In the fall, it'll be really easy to just pop them
Yeah.
out and move them over a little bit.
May I ask you a question about your theory of using plants as ground cover?
Well, I just sort of feel like all plants are basically ground cover, and, you know, with certain exceptions, the point of having a garden is to look at plants, not to look at dirt.
I agree.
Or to look at mulch. And so my goal is that all of these plantings will basically grow together and make sort of one solid carpet so that you don't see any soil and all you see are flowers and foliage.
So plants want to grow, whether they're a plant or a weed. So if you give it exposed soil, something's going to grow there. So
Yep.
you may as well be something that you want to grow.
Right, it may as well be something I want, and it may as well be something that I want now. Again, I could have taken this group of astilbes and spread them all out further, but then I would be looking at a lot more mulch, or I'd be looking at a lot more weeds, or I would be maybe buying annuals to fill in all the spaces that are open. And
It just really is so striking when you have a very large drift of the same plant. Looks
yeah,
beautiful.
I'm fond of saying almost anything looks good if you plant enough of it.
Enough of it. And speaking of which, is this a carex or is this a liriope?
No, this is a carex.
A carex.
This is
Very
ice
pretty.
dance, and it has a nice variegated foliage.
It's beautiful.
And actually, I bought these, I think I bought probably only a quarter of the amount that you see. I bought them in the spring, and I like sometimes if I go to the nursery and I see a pot that's really full, I'll buy it and just split them up.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm
I
a fan.
got probably about 3 carex out of each pot that I bought. So
That's
so
awesome.
that gave me more money to buy
Other
shrubs,
plants. Yes,
right?
yes, I love that. And your native ironweed is looking gorgeous as we head into the later part of summer.
Yeah, this wasn't really in the plan.
No, but I'm just standing next to it and I
But
can't
it-
help but admire it.
Yeah, I mean, it is really pretty, and the pollinators like it. There's one here that I will definitely take out.
Remove.
I'm sort of on the fence about what I'm
What to
going to
do.
do with these.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm just going to enjoy them.
Wanna be free of this heart, yeah. Wanna feel your arms around. I need you more, need you here, more than I would like to admit. Let's forget about tomorrow, yeah.
Hello.
Should
You were the star of the show last time.
forever?
Thanks for coming to visit.
Should I close my eyes and never again hold you tight, call you mine, think about you every time?
He came to greet us.
I remember that it's over, yeah. You never break, you never lie, you never ever scared of the dark. So why am I the one who cries? I'm so afraid to be left behind. I think about you a lot. It's almost like I can't stop, yeah.
But I wanted to show you these beautiful morning glories that Andrew has growing on these obelisks, where he uses these as supports for his dahlias. But look how beautiful these are. They are very large. They have this very beautiful, kind of like a periwinkle purple color with a pink throat and a white outer edge. They're gorgeous and so large. Look at that. They're growing beautifully up and over this obelisk. Such pretty dahlias.
We can almost do a garden tour just in this one
I
little
know,
area.
it's such a beautiful place. If you want to check out that garden tour that we did last year, I will link that below. But this walkway here, George, if you can just turn around to get a view of it with all of these obelisks and this grassy path, it is just stunning. So beautiful, and it leads you through the garden. This cleome is so pretty, and he mentioned that many of them self-seeded this year, but they're very pretty annual. Let me show you Andrew's elephant ears. They are gorgeous. They are huge.
I've never seen anything that.
Isn't this is stunning. So beautiful. This is his lattice house in the back. And you can see all of those grasses have, I believe that's millet, those brown blooms there. And then there is some hibiscus and these elephant ears, because this is kind of a wet area and these plants like soil that stays pretty moist. That is why these elephant ears are really happy here on the edge of this planting area. I could be here for a week and still not cover all of the beautiful plantings that Andrew has in his gardens. Look at all of this phlox that's blooming here in this border. This is like a cottage garden room that he has in this area. Last time that we were here, we got to meet Andrew's adorable kitty, which also came to visit us today. But he has some new pets, some garden ducks. They're beautiful shades of brown. But their job in the garden is not only to be adorable duck pets, but to eat the snails. Apparently, Andrew was having a little bit of an issue with some snails in the garden, and they make really great duck snacks. But they are beautiful, and they always travel in a group like that. My favorite types of gardens are the ones that you can kind of meander through, and there's these secret little paths that you're not sure where they're taking you, but there's always something new to explore. Look at this beautiful drift of ferns that are planted under this tree here, and some more phlox and hydrangea. Just so beautiful. So Andrew, we're walking along the side of your stream now where you moved your retaining wall, and it gives you an opportunity to plant beautiful annual.
Yeah, so for this year, I just decided to plant annuals in here and make it sort of a cutting garden.
Yeah.
And everything in here I grew from seed in the greenhouse.
Nice.
So there's calendulas and these really fun bells of Ireland.
These are beautiful.
Yeah, aren't they fun? It's kind of a fun cut flower, actually. They look really nice with other brighter colors.
Mm-hmm.
And then, there's the calendulas and zinnias. I'm really happy with the zinnias this year.
They look great.
And those white marigolds. And then all evenly spaced along the wall are dwarf peach trees, because I'm very fond of peaches and it's hard to buy good fresh peaches.
Right.
So this is an experiment. It's a variety called Bonanza. They're supposed to make full-size peaches on a small tree.
Very nice.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. They did have some peaches this year, but they were very small. So
Maybe they'll get bigger as they age. You have 4 of them, right?
Yeah, well, actually, and
5.
they're on this side as well. But, of course, one here isn't really doing well. And there's one there and one there. So, of course, the most important place to have a matched pair, one does great and one doesn't. And that's just how it goes.
Always. I find that anywhere that you have a matching set of something in a very symmetrical space, one always goes south. I find that happens.
And then, so now I have to decide, do I take that one out, or do I don't know, we'll decide. It might be okay, but it's just not as really
robust.
like these look really good.
Uh-huh.
And I'm excited to see them bloom in the spring. That'll be
Yes.
really pretty along the top of
That'll
the
be beautiful.
wall.
I have to tell you, these are the sugar and spice.
Yeah.
I asked you because I grew these last year. They're so nice and upright. This is as close as you're going to get to a white marigold. It has a hint of a yellow to it, like an ivory, but it is gorgeous.
Well, you know, I remember because I'm a lot older than you. When I was a kid, the Burpee Seeds Company had a competition, and they were going to give, I don't remember how much, but it was a lot of money to whoever bred the whitest marigold.
Uh-huh.
And it was this big search for a white marigold.
Did you make an entry?
No, I think I was like 12 or something
You're
at
young.
the time.
But look, years later,
but you know,
this is the closest I've
yeah,
seen.
they've gotten pretty. I think in the end they gave like $1,000 to 3 different people who had come close.
So $333 each for the discovery of a white marigold. These are beautiful.
Yeah, I love this one. Yeah, it's so pretty.
It really is.
Nice colors. I have to say, I'm starting to be more fond of these mortgated pom-pom zinnias than the bigger ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I've been cutting them. I mean, they really are, the more you cut, the more you get.
It really is. Do you know what variety this is? Because this color is gorgeous.
I don't remember.
Oh,
I mean,
they're
I can
so
look
pretty.
it up for you if you check in with me. I can look it
Yeah.
up.
Oh, they're so pretty. And they're so nice and upright. And it looks like you did what I do now, which is just plant them really close together so they kind of hold each other up and it doesn't require as much staking.
Yep, the middle ones
great.
are sort of supported. I guess I did them about, I don't know, a foot apart.
Yeah.
A foot apart, but
They look healthy. The foliage still looks great.
Yeah, it's not mildewy, which is really
It's because
nice.
it's been dry. We haven't had a ton of rain
We
this summer,
haven't.
unfortunately. But yeah, my cosmos are not doing that
No,
great
I'm
here
disappointed
either.
in cosmos.
Same.
I don't know. They have lots of flower buds, but when the flowers open, they never really look that.
Uh-huh. And they're very small this year. The
Yeah.
bottoms of mine are browning. But this Russian sage,
Yeah, Perovskia.
oh,
Isn't that
beautiful. So gorgeous.
And again, there's a big group of it here, and then diagonally down there's
Yeah.
a group, and then from here now you can see that I added a group at the end of the wall.
I do see
So
that.
now your eye goes all the way around this whole space.
You have done a beautiful job. Now this is incredible. So soothing to hear the water and to see it visually, the way the sun was casting on it this morning. How much of this did you actually build yourself? Did you do any of the pond hardscaping?
No, I hired a company called Earth and Water, a guy named Joe Mapp, and he and his company, his crew came and basically built the stream.
Yeah.
So according to, I told them that I wanted it to follow the natural course of the land, that I wanted steps down and the stepping stones across. I had laid out with a spray painted line, sort of the curve that I wanted the stream to follow. And then they did all the really hard construction of digging it out, putting down the liner, and then, of course, placing the rocks. And placing the rocks is very difficult,
For sure.
and they did an exceptional job. Of course, over time, my hope is that the plantings along the edge are going to grow over the rocks, so you'll actually see them a lot less.
Yeah. Soften it a little.
To soften it so that it's a little more hidden.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very happy with the way that you can't see it until you step through the wall or you come down here. So it really is a fun surprise.
It really is. When I first thought I'd glimpse this morning, I was just blown away at how beautiful this is. And you could hear the water as you're starting to walk toward it, which is so nice. And you're right. You planted a lot of like sedums, and you have the artemisia and things that will sort of
Right, there's a lot of
cascade.
that creeping phlox,
Mhm.
and then there's dwarf or cotoneasters that are going to creep over, and this very interesting prostrate viburnum,
Oh,
which is normally like a big shrub. This is a very flat, low-growing variety that will have those pretty viburnum, flat, almost hydrangea flowers
yeah, like a
in
double
the
file.
spring. Yeah. And I'm hoping over time that all of those things are just going to creep over the rock and really soften them even more.
I'm sure it's going to look lovely. And this is some more, what is it that you have here?
That's Hypericum hitcoat, which is a plant that I've always really liked and never had a great space for it, though I have planted it for clients a lot.
Not the yellow bloom.
I think the foliage is really pretty, and I like the yellow flowers. And again, nothing really seems to eat it. And
Yeah, it's very
it makes it very soft. I like the texture, even without the foliage. I mean, even without the flowers, I really enjoy the texture of the foliage, and it has a sort of slightly bluish tint to it, which is really nice.
It does. And the viburnum is right behind it.
Yeah.
Very pretty. This is a beautiful combination.
And that's actually right behind that's a big mass of Caryopteris,
Oh, Caryopteris. So that will bloom soon.
which will bloom soon too, and a big mass of blue. This side of the stream, the soil is sandier. So I'm experimenting with things that, need very well draining soil. Like I'd sort of given up on growing lavender, but I'm trying it on the wall on the other side because the soil's sandy, it drains fast, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. But that Caryopteris will look beautiful, and then you'll have some more blue going down this side of the stream. Very pretty. Andrew is located in southeastern Massachusetts in Seekonk, Mass. And so I will put the information to his contractor down below. If anyone local is interested in doing this type of project, you can check that out. But Andrew, thank you so much for inviting us over today to check out this beautiful stream that you've created here in your garden.
Well, thank you so much for coming. It's always fun to talk about gardens with a fellow gardener and to show off a new project and get feedback. So thanks so much for coming out. And it's been a gorgeous morning, and it's been wonderful to spend time with you.
Thank you so much. The feeling is mutual. I absolutely loved this and chatting with you this morning. So thank you again. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for spending your time with us, and I'll catch you in the next one.